Hi everyone and welcome to another IGCSE math session. My name is Irfan and today we're going to talk about percentages. So what is a percentage? Well, if we have a fraction whose denominator is 100, then it can be expressed as a percentage. For example, 3 over 100 is the same as 3%, or 25 over 100 is 25%, right? And sometimes the denominator is not 100. For example, 2 over 10 or 3 over 20. Well, actually, we can use equivalent fractions to convert the denominator to 100. And what I mean by that, in the first example, all you need to do is to multiply both top and bottom by 10 to convert the denominator to 100. As a result of that, we get 20 on top, and this is equal to 20%. Right? And here, all I need to do is to multiply both numerator and denominator by 5 to make the denominator. So remember, the goal is to make the denominator 100. That's how I found this number 5 and this number 10 here. So here we get 100, here we get 15, and the answer is 15%, right? And since we are at the beginning of this topic, it is worth to mention that fractions, this is something that I have already covered in previous video, as well as decimals. We've done a couple of examples regarding how to convert a fraction to decimals and vice versa. So we have percentages here as well. So you need to know how to convert decimals or even fractions to percentage and vice versa. So all of these, they can be converted to each other. For example, let's take a look at this 2 over 10, which I have already converted it to percentage. The equivalent percentage is 20%, and the equivalent decimal is 0.2 or 2/10, right? That's the equivalent fraction. How about 3 over 4? Well, 3 over 4 is actually what you can do. You can multiply top and bottom by 25 to get the corresponding percentage, and that would be, that would be 75%, and the equivalent decimal would be 0.75. Now, if you look at these two numbers, the decimal and percentage, you can easily convert decimal to percentage by multiplying by 100. Can you see that? If you multiply this by 100, you get 20%. And if you multiply this by 100, you get 75%. So converting decimal to percentage is easy, but for fractions, you have to be careful if the denominator is not 100, and that's all, right? But what if the denominator is something which cannot be easily converted to 100? So 10, all I needed to do is multiply it by 10. For 4, I had to multiply it by 25. For 20, just multiply it by 5. But what if we have something like this, a fraction like 3 over 16? Well, 16 is not a very friendly number to work with, especially if you want to convert this to 100. What number you should multiply that by? Well, we're not going to use this method. Instead, we're going to divide 3 by 16. So I'm going to perform division. I'm going to perform long division. So we have 3. I'm not going to use a calculator for this, guys. So this is my divisor. So what's the how many 16 I can fit into 3 none. So therefore I have to put a 0 here and a decimal point here. Then I can start dividing. I need a 1. 1 times 16, 16. That would be 14. Then add another 0 here or here. You bring it down. And what do we get? What's the next one? How many 16 I can fit into? Is it 8? If I'm not mistaken, 8 times 16, 1, 2, 8. Yeah, I'm trying not to use a calculator. So just as a practice, this is something that you guys, you should know as well. So this one gives me 12. Then I add another 0 here. And that would be, okay, 7, obviously. And 1, okay, that would be 5, I guess. Is it? Yeah, we're done. So the remainder gives us 0, and that's it. The answer, after you divide 3, so let me write it in this table, which I have already formed here. So this was the original question. They ask us to find the percentage, but I found the decimal first, which is 0.1875. And after this, I told you how to convert any decimal to percentage. You just multiply it by 100 and you put the percentage symbol after that to compensate that. Don't forget to do that. If you just multiply it by 100 and do nothing, you have changed the number completely. So to compensate that, you put the percentage symbol in front, because this symbol means dividing by 100, right? This guy right here means 1 over 100, or multiplying by 1 over 100, or dividing by 100. It's the same thing, right? Multiplying by a reciprocal of a number is the same as dividing by that number. So this is about percentage. So let's start with some simple questions regarding percentages. So imagine there are 100 students in the class, and out of which 88 are girls and 12 are boys. So the question is asking what percentage of the students are girls and what percentage of the students are boys. So all you have to do is, for the girls, we have 88, take that number and divide it by the total of the number of students. That would be 0.88, which then you multiply that by 100 and you get basically 88%, right? So for the boys, we do the same thing. So this was an easy question just to warm you guys up. I purposely chose the number to be 100, and maybe we do another question like to calculate a percentage of a quantity. Like we have an object which is 20 cm long, and they ask you what is 30% of this object, 20 cm, which the length is 20 cm. So what you do, I think I have already mentioned this before, you treat this off as times, right? And you just multiply 30%, which is basically 0.30 or 0.3 times 20. And the answer would be 6 cm in this case, right? Or maybe they ask you what is 35% of 280 students, so how many students is that? For example, they say 35% of the students in this class, they passed the exam. The total number of students is 280. So how many students they passed? So all you need to do is just multiply 280 by 0.35, which the result would be 98. So this is what we call calculating a percentage of a quantity, right? Percentage of a quantity. So this is quite an easy question. And maybe I do one more questions regarding this and I move on to the other subtopic. Let's say we have the total number of items sold in a car, in a shop. So we have a total of 150 items sold. So out of which, let's say 46% were newspaper, 24% were pens, 12% were books, and the rest was other items, right? So they're asking you calculate the number of each item which is sold in this bookshop. Now, what you need to do, you just take each one of these number and you multiply that by 150 because 26% of total items were newspapers. So 46, which is 0.46 times 150, that would be the newspaper. 0.24 times 50, that would be the pens, right? And for the 12%, it's the same thing, 150. And the rest, you have to add up these numbers and see what's the remainder. If you subtract by 100, I believe it should be 18%. So this is 18% and 0.18 times 150. So the answers are 27, 18. This one, 150 times 0.24. Okay, 36. And this should be just the rest, right? And yeah, 69. That's it. So that was easy. Quite this topic is easy, percentage of a quantity. However, if you're talking about two quantities and you're asked to express one as a percentage of another. So express one quantity as a percentage of another. So what does that mean? Let's give you the example of the classroom again. And we have a girl in a classroom which scored 54 out of 75. They're asking you to express the result as a percentage. So this is not off. This is not 54 off 75. So it's not the matter of multiplication. As a matter of fact, it's the other way around. It's division. So when you see the out of, you have to, so the procedure is very straightforward. You have to write the first quantity as a fraction of the second quantity. So this is the first quantity and this is the second quantity. So you write the first as a fraction of the second and at the end you multiply by 100. So we have 54 divided by 75 times 100%. And that would be, okay, 54 divided by 75. So that will be 0.72, I'm sorry, percent, 72%, right? And don't forget to multiply by 100%, not just 100, because if you do that, you're gonna change the answer. To compensate that, we need this percentage symbol, right? So another example, they ask you what is 13 out of 39. So you simply take the first quantity, right? And then you divide it by the second quantity, and then you multiply it by 100%, which gives you 33.3%, right? That's an approximation. There is a repetition of 3, but you can round it up to 1 dp. So this is quite straightforward, but let's do the most important subtopic of percentages, which is increase and decrease. So here how it goes. Let's say you're working in a shop and the salary that you receive per month is 1,200. So 1,200, and then your manager likes what you're doing. She wants to increase your salary by 8%. Increase by 8%. So I can ask you two questions regarding that. First thing is, what's the amount extra? So basically the extra amount that you will receive starting from this month. And the second thing I can ask is, what is your new salary, right? So the extra amount is 8% of your current salary. So 8% of, so if you remember, I said of means multiplication when you're dealing with percentages. So basically 8% or 0.08 times 1,200, and the answer would be 96. So 96 US dollar, that's an increase. So this is the answer to A. And the answer to B, all you have to do is just to add this extra amount to your current salary, which is 1,200. So 1,200 plus 96 would be 1,296. That would be the new salary. Now, however, what if the questions just ask you directly? It had only just one part, and they ask you, what is the new salary? That's it. Was there any shortcut that you could find the new salary directly without calculating the extra amount, the amount which will be added to your salary? Is there any way just to find the new salary directly? Well, the answer to that question is yes, there is. And I'm going to give you a shortcut that it actually works for any type of questions regarding increase and decrease of percentages. So how it works, so this is the structure of the formula. We have the old, and by old, I mean it could be price, it could be salary, it could be weight. Let's say you increase your weight or decrease your weight by 20% after having a diet, right? So by old, it could mean anything. And then you multiply it, you open a bracket, you have the 100 here, and then you have plus or minus the percentage here, right? So when do we use plus? When do we use minus? If it's increase, like you get a new salary, you get promotion, something like that, you use the plus sign. And if it's a decrease, like a discount, like depreciation of the value of something, right? You use the negative sign, and this is the percentage that this will be given to you, like in this question, that is 8%. So we have percentage, don't forget percentage sign here, equals to new. So this is the formula, and it's gonna make your life way easier. Believe me, I always teach my students this formula because it can be easily used whether you having an increase or decrease, and it can help you to find the old as well as new. So if the old is given, you can find the new, and if new is given and old is unknown, you can easily cross multiply and find the old one as well. So let me use this formula for this question, and then we will get to the next question. So the old salary in this question is 1200 multiply. Now I have 100 here, so it is mentioned specifically it's an increase, right? Increase by 8%. So I use plus 8, the percentage sign. This should give me the new salary. So since we're talking about salary, you can modify this equation and just write old salary times this equals to new salary on the right hand side. So if you key in your calculator, so basically that is 1200 times 108%, and the answer directly gives you 1296. So you found the new salary without bothering of finding the extra amount. So it's usually the questions are like that. However, you can find the extra amount first and then add it. But please learn these equations because it is way faster and easier to utilize. So I'm going to give you another example. This time we talk about discount. So let's say we're having a sale, and an object, it is after 15% discount. So originally the price is 130 US dollar. So the discount is 15%, and they're asking you what is the new price after discount. So new price after the discount. Now, of course, what you can do is find 15% of this amount and then subtract it from 130, and that would be the new price, right? But that would be the 2 steps that I told you. It's not really necessary unless they ask you how much is the discount. If they ask you how much is the discount, so you should find 15% of this much. And yeah, but if you want to use the formula that I just told you, all you need to do is to write the old price and multiply it by 100. Since it's discount, right? You subtract it by 15, then percentage equals to new price. And we know the value for old price, that is 130. So 130 times 85%, that gives you 110. And there's a 50 cent, I believe. Yeah. So this is the answer, right? This is the answer. We do one more question and then move on to the last topic. So let's say we have a farmer who increases the yield on his farm by 15%. So the yield is increased by, so we have increase by 15%. If his previous yield was, so previous yield was 6,500 tons, what is his present yield? So basically the new So the word they're using is previous and present, or old and new. So if you want to use the formula that I told you guys, all you have to do is, since this is the old, 6,500 times, we have increase, so it's 100 plus 15, the percentage. So this should gives us the present yield or the new yield, which is actually can be obtained by multiplying 6,500 by 115%, or 1.15, right? It's the same thing. So that should give us 7,475, right? As simple as that. Now, I would say the hardest type of questions from percentages is from reverse percentage. And this topic is only for extended, not core. So this is reverse percentage, and that's the last topic we're gonna talk about in this video. So it's, as the name implies, it means it works the other way around, right? So it's not like previous questions. Let me give you an example and you would see what I mean by that. So let's say we have a boat which is sold for 15,360 US dollar. So this is the amount which we sold it, and it represents a profit. So if you sell it at this price, the profit that you're getting is 28% of seller, right? 28% of seller. So it means the original price was something less than this, maybe 12K, 13K, we don't know, that after we sell it at this price, we get a 28% profit. Okay, so, and now I think you know what I'm going to ask you. The question is, what was the original price, or the original, how much it originally cost the seller, right? Because the seller should have bought it at a price and then sell it at a higher price to get 28% of profit, right? So the original cost is how much? Now, if you didn't know the formula that I just presented to you guys, this question could be quite difficult to solve. Many students, they struggle at these type of questions, but since I have provided you the formula, it should be very easy for you to solve it. All you need to do just to write down the equation that I've told you. So old price or original, right? Original or old should be on the left-hand side, and the new should be on the right-hand side always. So you just multiply it by 100, and profit is the same as increase. So therefore, I'm going to use the plus sign. So plus 28%, right? So now the difference between this question and previous questions is that the unknown is the old price. So this is my unknown. The new price is given to us. So if you refer to the previous question, we had to find the new price, right? Here, and same thing here, the new salary, right? But right now we need to find the old. So my unknown is the left-hand side. So it involves a little bit of algebraic manipulation, but it's not that difficult. We can manage that. So the old, or the cost, you can say the cost, or the old price, times this is 128%, must give us 15,360. Now 128%, if you convert it to decimal, you divide it by 100. You remember, decimal to percentage, you multiply by 10, and if you have a percentage, you convert it to decimal, you divide it by 100. Why I said that? Because it's easier to work with if you convert this to decimal. Then what's left for me to do is to divide everything, both sides, by 1.28. So everything divided by 1.28, and the new, I'm sorry, the original cost, or the answer is 15, this is gone, so we have 15,360 divided by 1.28, and that is 12K, right? Or 12,000. So the original price was 12,000, and this guy sold it at this price, which gave him 28% profit, right? So this is what we call reverse percentage. So, and the new, it could be price, it could be weight, it could be length, anything, any quantity will be given to you, and you're asked to find the old, which is basically the quantity on the left-hand side. If you know, there is another way to solve this question, by the way, just so you see that there is another way to solve this. I'm gonna erase this part. Maybe I can show you quickly. There is another method, which is basically the unitary method. What you need to do is, since we have profit of 100, I'm sorry, profit of 28%, the selling price is 128%. So again, I repeat, if you make a profit 28%, and if the original cost is 100%, the selling price is 128%. That makes sense because profit is increased. So 128% actually represent this much of US dollar, right? And the question is, what is 1%? So 1%, this is a matter of ratio, is nothing but 15,360 divided by 128. And therefore, if you multiply this, because 1% is this much, and original cost, right? Original cost was 100%. So if I multiply everything here by 100, right? Here I get the 100%, which is the original cost, by the way. This is the original cost. Here, if I multiply it by 100 as well, I get the value of the original cost. So this is 15,360. 100 over 128 times 100, that would be 12K as well. So this is another way, which basically you find the new percentage. Basically, I better put it this way, because this could be sometimes less than 100 if we're dealing with decrease or discount, right? And then you find the 1%. Always you should find the 1%. And then at the end, you multiply everything by 100 and you get the final answer. So I leave it to you which method you prefer. Maybe I do one quick question. So let's say we have a student who gets 92% of the questions correct in an exam. So 92% correct answers, right? And that would be equivalent to 23 questions. So 92% of correct answer means 22 questions answered correctly. Okay, so answered correctly. Now the question is asking how many questions, not percentage, how many questions he got wrong. So number of questions that this student got wrong. So if you want to use, I'm going to use both methods. just so you see. So if you want to use the method that I taught you guys, we always have old on the left-hand side, new on the right-hand side. So 92% he got correct. 92% of this is 23. So 92% times, I better not use the old and new because that confuses you. Basically, this is the total number of questions. This is the correct questions, that the correct answers, right? And the total number of questions times 92% should be 23. So the total number of questions is 23 divided by 0.92, and that gives us 25. So what I found here is basically the total number of questions, which is 25, and I know 23 has been answered correctly, so the wrong questions are 25 minus 23, so definitely he must have answered the rest of it wrong, which is 2 questions, right? That's one way of answering it. And if you want to find the other method, you say 92% is equivalent to 23 questions, right? And then you find the 1%, right? And see how much is that. So 1% means 23 divided by 92, right? And then we're looking for, this time we're not looking for 100%, because if you multiply by 100, it gives you the total number of questions, which you don't need to find, right? Which you don't need to find. Rather, what you can do is just multiply by 8%. Why? Because if 92% is correct, 8% must be wrong. So we know the percentage of wrong answers. So I just multiply everything by 8, right? And if you do that, the questions, I mean, the answer would be 23 divided by 92 times 8. It should give us 2. So let me double check. And yes, that's the answer. So there are 2 ways, actually. You can directly find by multiplying by 8, or you can find the total number of questions and then subtract 2 out of it at the end, right? And I think having said that, maybe we do one more question and then we can end this video, because this topic is really important, the reverse percentages. So let's say you bought a car, and after a year passes by, the price of your car, or the market value, is 11,250. So this is the price basically after 1 year of period, right? So now, if this value, if the value of the car has depreciated by 25%, 25%. So this is the depreciated by, that's a decrease, right? Depreciated means decrease. We use this term in finance a lot. Then they're asking you, if the value has depreciated by 25% in that first year, calculate its price when it was new. So basically, when you bought it from the company, how much was that? Yes, that's the by new, they don't mean now. They mean when the car bought new, right? So meaning which last year. So this is the price after 1 year. So last year when you bought it, when it was new, how much was the price? So if I use the word old and new, you might get confused because this new does not represent, guys, the present moment. Okay, remember that. Anyway, so I'm gonna the old, when you bought it, it had a price, so it has a price, and then it is multiplied. I'm going to use the equation, that the formula that I taught you guys. So depreciation means decrease. So, and it has decreased by 25%, and now the price is 11,250. So the new price, or when you bought it, that's what I mean. How much was that? Maybe you can call that X if you want. So X is equal to, or the new is equal to, this is 75% or 0.7. Maybe I write that down and then I divide everything by 0.75. So the price of the car when you bought it was actually 11,250 divided by 0.75, and the final answer is 15,000. So you could have solved this using the unitary method, the 1% thing, but you should be careful here. You had to subtract it by saying that 75% represent 11,250. So what is 1%? 1% is this much divided by 75. And now we're looking for 100%, the original price, which is 11,250 divided by 75 times 100, which again give us 15K. So I leave it to you guys, whichever method that you want to use in the exam, both is correct, but make sure you master at least one of these methods and stick to it. You don't need to confuse yourself and learn both methods necessary. So having said that, we're done with percentages. Good luck, stay safe, and I see you guys in the next video. Thank you.